Now to developments in a story involving a sexual assault allegation against Joe Biden, which he denies. A new person coming forward to vouch for the woman who made this accusation. The allegation by a former Senate aide to Biden, Tara Reade, who alleges that Biden sexually assaulted her in a Senate building in 1993. The New York Times reported Reade, quote, briefly worked as a staff assistant in Biden's Senate office and said in 1993 Biden pinned her to a wall and sexually assaulted her. A spokesman for Biden says the allegation was false. The Times reported, quote, no other allegation about sexual assault surfaced in the course of reporting, nor did any former Biden staff members corroborate details of Reade's allegation. The Times found no pattern of sexual misconduct by Biden. The Biden campaign adamantly denies the entire account, stating, quote, it is untrue. This absolutely did not happen, while Biden himself has not publicly addressed the allegation. Now, what is the conclusion of what the New York Times found? Here's how Times reporter Lisa Lehrer described her own reporting.
Tara mentions to me is that at the time she had called a friend and told her the whole story. So I tracked down the friend and, in large part, she corroborates the story that Tara had told me. She tells me she told a friend in 2008 after Joe Biden had been picked as Barack Obama's vice president, and she confirms that account and some of the things that Tara tells me.
Where does that leave you?
So it leaves us with something, but certainly not enough to corroborate this entire story.
That's the New York Times. Now, a new person is going on the record by name vouching for Reade, telling Business Insider that Reade told her the account of being assaulted around 1995 or 96, roughly 2 to 3 years after the alleged account. Quote, this happened, and I know it did because I remember her talking about it, is what this person said. Now, Business Insider reports the witness is Reade's former neighbor and adds that she is a Democrat and also intends to vote for Biden this year. In Congress, top Democrats are standing with Biden. Senator Coons defending him just in the previous hour on MSNBC today, as did his former primary rival, Senator Gillibrand, and recent booster, Congressman Clyburn. Now, the way to learn about this kind of story is to address it, ask the questions, and listen to the evidence. We have been asking officials about the issue, and here are some of the responses from another former Biden primary rival, Senator Klobuchar, and the top-ranking Democrat in government, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, from my recent interviews with them.
I think this case has been investigated. I know the vice president as a major leader on domestic abuse. I worked with him on that. And I think that, again, the viewers should read the article. It was very thorough.
There was an accusation of misconduct against Joe Biden. He has publicly denied it. He is the Democratic nominee. Are you satisfied with his answer?
I am satisfied with his answer, yes.
That is the state of this story right now, and we will continue to report out the evidence as we get it. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.